You're very welcome to Sports Roundup Sunday on Scariff Bay Community Radio. Clare and Wexford met today in the All-Ireland Under-23 camogie semi-final. Nicholas Rinn was there for Scariff Bay Community Radio.
And Wexford have beaten Clare here in Freshford in County Kilkenny, St. Lasses Club here on a scoreline of 2-10 to 1-6. A great display from a Wexford team who had superb players throughout, in particular Karen Tompkins at centre-back, who is the captain of the team. Oddly enough, she comes from a place called Kilrush in County Wexford. Leah Stafford and Sab Butler at midfield, they were outstanding, and Claire Butler as centre-forward, and they were the outstanding players. Kiva Byrne scored the opening goal for Wexford to set them on their way, and that was followed up later on by a goal from Leah Furlong. From the Clare point of view, they really tried hard. Abby Walsh was outstanding at centre-back. She threw everything. She drove at Kilkenny late in the game as well to try and get at Wexford, late in the game to try and get something from the game. So she was the outstanding player for Clare. And in fairness, Eve Anderson, Ava O'Driscoll, Aisling Cooney, they all tried. Ellen Casey, they threw everything at it. Claudia Queally, they threw everything at Wexford, but Wexford just the stronger team. They had 6 or 7 players who actually played on Friday evening, which is ridiculous that they're playing here again today. They played Senior Camogie there on Friday evening. They must have been tired, and actually Leah Stafford I think came off with 10 minutes to go. But just on the day, Wexford were the better team, but that's how it goes. We just couldn't get to grips up front. We didn't get the ball that Wexford were getting. We just couldn't get it in enough. We go away now. We dust ourselves down. This is a good competition under 23. It gives a chance for the senior management to have a look at players and to see how they're going. So we were missing 3 as well from the starting 15, Daniela Griffin, Grania McMahon and Daniela Beston were they had to cry after injury. Although Daniela Beston came in and she played well when she came in. From a sunny southeast here in Freshford, it's Wexford who came out on top, 2-10 as said to 1-6. Clare threw everything they had at it, and it just wasn't enough. You can't complain when you're beaten by a better team on the day, but to get to an All-Ireland semi-final and to perform and to give it their best, Clare can walk away with their heads held high and onwards now to the senior championship and their first meeting with Dublin. We'll be meeting Wexford later on in Wexford, so it's a lot to look forward to, and all going well, we'll be right there at the end of the season. So well done to Clare on giving it everything they have, and congratulations to Wexford, who had probably the better game plan on the day. This is Nicholas Rinn here for Scariff Bay Radio.
After the game, our team spoke to both managers. First of all, Eugene Foodie of Clare, and then Damien Roach from Wexford.
Joining us now, as ever, Eugene, you're always very good to give us your time. Eugene, your thoughts on that? I suppose from a scoring point of view, 5 points in the first half, Eugene, 1 goal and a point in the second half. I suppose it's never going to be enough to beat a team of a quality of Wexford.
No. We had the chances probably in the first half. We didn't take them. We playing with the breeze. We needed a cushion of maybe 3 or 4 points. We didn't end up going in half time. But look at the girls gave it their all. Not making excuses, but we're down a couple key girls. Wexford on a high after winning the Leinster title on Friday night. We were down a couple of senior girls and Danielle and then But look at credit the girls. They did best what they could, and unfortunately it wasn't our day.
day.
Tough schedule, Eugene. You'd say. Like we were just saying it before the game. Like this kind of a schedule for girls. Like Wexford playing Friday night and playing again today, and they would have to play a final next week as well. And obviously the senior championship is starting in 2 weeks' time. It's taxing on girls, and you have to manage it right, Eugene.
Yeah. Sure, look, a couple of weeks ago we had to play Waterford in the park and head up to down to play the following day and picked up a couple of injuries and that. And I mean that's where player welfare has not been looked after by the powers that be in it. But asking girls to play 2 games in a couple of days of that, I mean, you wouldn't ask race horses to do it, and they're asking our girls to do it. But to be fair to Wexford, I mean, they were able to do it, and they were the fitter and stronger than us today.
And Eugene, can I go back to that point, because people at home would be kind of amazed if they don't know the camogie scene. This is happening a lot, Eugene. That this wouldn't happen to, we'll say, Cork and all these so-called brilliant senior hurlers. This wouldn't happen to Clare and Brian Lohan to play on a Friday and to play again on a Sunday, or else like you had to do the play on a Saturday and go up on a long journey the following day to down. This would not happen on the men's game. So the women's game really has to start looking at this now for player welfare, like you said.
Definitely. But look, that's for a topic for another day. We just didn't perform today. We just were kind of second best in both areas and the balls. Look at we just have to pick ourselves back up now and get ready for 2 weeks' time against Dublin.
And Eugene, before I let you go, obviously 2 weeks is on the horizon now. You got a game into Jennifer Daly today. Just on the injuries, Granny McMahon and then Daniel Griffin. Hopefully they'll be coming back for that, because you could say Dublin is really a massive game now for Clare on the horizon, starting the championship in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, look, that's the first bit of hurling Jennifer's done in a couple of weeks, so I'm just glad to get a game into her. And we'll head down now. We'll focus on Dublin in 2 weeks' time.
Eugene, thanks very much and very hard luck today.
Yeah, thanks.
So just have the Wexford manager here, Damien Roach. Thank you for coming up and joining us on Scariff Bay FM. Damien, congratulations to you. I suppose, look, we're always watching games, and it's very easy to say the best team won there today, but I thought your effort and commitment, and I suppose after such a taxing game on Friday night, Damien, you must be absolutely delighted with the girls.
Yeah, look, recovery was a big session. I think a lot of the girls spent most of their day yesterday down on the beach in the water trying to get recovered, but no, tremendous effort from the girls. It was kind of said from the start that this championship was never going to be an easy championship. The likes of yourselves, Clare, and us, and Limerick, and Antrim, we all see ourselves as favourites for us. So it just came down. I suppose girls just wanting it, and that was it. They dug deep, and some girls are tired. Sive Buttle came off there with 15 minutes to go, and she said, "I've never been so tired in my life." And she only got a half a game during the night, so I can't matter what some of the girls like that. I got a full game.
I mentioned it, Damien, on it. Sive Buttle was probably a 4. My commentary in the second half, she was absolutely outstanding, and I kind of knew that when you're taking off the legs of Sive, she probably couldn't go any farther. I was looking at it like you had a lot of seniors there. I mean, I thought Karen Tompkins was absolutely outstanding in probably the sweeper role you had her there today, Damien. I know it is easy to say, but she was so good at reading the game, and her distribution then was actually fantastic as well, Damien.
Yeah. Look, Karen is a well-rounded hurler. She's a lot of years there at senior level, and even in her own club there, she's well known as one of the best out there. So like Karen is a phenomenal athlete as well. Like she played a full game the other night for the seniors as well, and she didn't miss a beat there tonight. So it just goes to show the professionalism in some of these girls. And
I suppose from my point of view, because I'm always interested how people handle it. How did you manage the round robin? The round robin is kind of, everyone kind of forgets about the round robin until you get to the semi-final. So you obviously had to win games to get there. But I mean, how did you find it? Was there a progression in the team from day one, do you think, or are you kind of finding your bit of peak now, we'll say, at the right time?
Yeah, well, that's what we kind of aim for. We kind of aim for, like, some of these girls haven't seen much game time with the senior team, so we kind of aim to our intensity would rise as we go along, and then when we get to a final, we want to be hitting 100 tenths. You know what I mean? Like, we spoke to the girls about just keep building. Every game we got to see can we find that extra level and just hit that extra level every game, and that's what we seem to be doing. So hopefully we can hit another level now.
I mean, I said the beach will be called to tonight and tomorrow night as well. Whatever you might be able to celebrate and enjoy a brilliant weekend for Wexford Camogie.
Just when we get called away, there we were talking. Yeah, the 2 kids there, they came up to see me as well. As we got called away, there we were just talking about the recovery for during the week there. But I was talking with Jerry McQuaid there. Another fella that's come into Wexford Camogie there and absolutely just changed the whole atmosphere in the whole place.
Sure, I was just saying, Damien, I used to follow Wexford Camogie years ago when Jerry was involved with JJ Doyle there on the great team, and I met Jerry at a winning banquet after he won in All Ireland one time. Jerry's no fool. Jerry knows inside out what's going on, and he's Wexford Camogie at heart. And I'm sure that I suppose Clare, looking at just the senior side of it, we have to go down to Wexford in a second round of the championship, and it's going to be a right battle. Yes. And yourself, Damien, from a Wexford point of view, like it's top 2 there, and who's to say whose favourites to come out here? Like Kilkenny, would probably be everyone's favourites to kind of come out, but maybe they might get overturned in the first game or something and puts everyone under pressure.
You never know what can happen in a game of hurling. At the end of the day, Clare camogie is on the rise as well. We went down and played Clare in the senior. We played them in the under 23s and dogged fights the whole time through. You was better the last 2 times in the senior and the under 23s. So it just goes to show a puck of a ball could change a game anything. Just like the last under 23 game when you got the penalty at the end there, or the free 21-yard free at the end and put it in the back of net to win by a point. You don't know what happens on the day, and that's the best thing about hurling and camogie is anything can happen.
Yeah, Damien, and the last thing I'll say to you, I mean, the elite levels of professionalism now that's in camogie, it really stands to me when I see the Wexford team, who was six or seven of them girls that played on Friday night, that can come out here on a hot day here, in a tough environment again against Clare, and to last the pace of that. It's credit to S&C, it's credit to physios, it's credit to everybody involved in Wexford camogie to get them girls right again.
Sure, look, at the end of the day, it's the players themselves have to go home and eat right. They have to go home, get a nice bath, they have to go down to the beach. We can tell them to do it all you want, but it's up to the players to do it. And the fact that you've a group of girls in any county that are willing to do that and play, like next week we have to play Offaly in the senior and we've played the All-Ireland final. That's 4 games within a week. That's phenomenal effort and phenomenal from the girls just to be willing to put in that kind of commitment. And then you have like Jerry McQuaid comes in then and he gets a backroom team together that make sure they're doing what he wants done, make sure they're best for the girls. And every county is more or less the same. They're bringing the people that are going to give the girls the best advice and everything like that. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to the players. Though they look after themselves, they make sure they eat right. So it's credit to.
And when you win, Damien, I suppose the injuries and maybe the sore muscles, they go away for 60 minutes. I suppose
it was actually said in the dressing room at half time in the Dublin Leinster final with the senior team that we can wake up tomorrow morning as losers and be sore, or we can wake up tomorrow morning and you won't as winners and you won't even feel the pain.
Right, exactly, Damien. We really appreciate you coming up here, and the very best of luck in the final, probably next week, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Please God, down in Wexford.
Thanks very much, Les. Thanks very much.
Our first report is from the Division 2 camogie clash between Whitegate and Clarecastle-Ballyea on Friday. Aideen Burke was there for Scariff Bay.
In the 5th round of the Division 2 Camogie League last Friday, Whitegate took on Clarecastle-Ballyea in Whitegate. Whitegate led at the break 3-6 to 6 points with goals from Sive Whelan and Greta Hickey, and the final score, Whitegate finished out with a final scoreline of 3-13 to 9 points. Both Greta and Sive did very well during the match. Greta scored a lot of frees and Amber Nolan also displayed a great level of skill with some long-range points.
Also on Friday, Fecal Kilnina Camogie took on Newmarket and Fergus in Fecal. Pauline McNamara reports for us.
Fecal Kilnina and Newmarket and Fergus played this evening in Fecal in a 13-a-side clash due to low numbers on both panels. Fecal Kilnina opened the scoring with a point from Brona Brady. Some short passing in their own defence. The ball was overturned and Newmarket pointed to level the match. 17 minutes in, Robin Conway struck for the only goal for Fecal Kilnina. Points followed from Sean Kenny, who added 2, and Ella McNamara, who made an inspirational run through the centre, fired the ball over the bar. Newmarket responded with 2 points of their own, leaving half-time score Fecal Kilnina 1-4, Newmarket and Fergus 3 points. The second half, however, swung in Newmarket's favour. Fecal Kilnina lost defenders Maeve Brady and Eileen Daly to injury, and the visitors capitalised, hitting 2 goals in quick succession. Fecal Kilnina battled on, adding 2 more points, but Newmarket kept the scoreboard ticking with 5 points in the half, leaving the full-time score of Fecal Kilnina 1-6, Newmarket and Fergus 2-9.
In Division 2 of the Clare Cup, Tubber hosted Smith O'Brien's on Saturday. Our reporter there was Brendan Foley.
Smith O'Brien's travelled to Tubber for round 4 of Division 2 in the Clare Cup. In a sun-drenched Tubber on a Saturday evening and pitch in great condition, both teams give a great performance, with Smith O'Brien's coming out on top by a 1-point win on a scoreline of 113 to 114. In a very highly entertaining game, Tubber took the lead with the opening first 4 scores. Smith O'Brien's came back with scores from David Goff and David O'Shea to leave it at 4-2 after 15 minutes. Tubber again stretched their lead out to 7, but points from Jason Monaghan, Mike Goff and David O'Shea again brought the teams back to 7 points apiece. Again, both teams really playing some brilliant hurling with great scores from O'Shea especially. Just before half-time, Smith O'Brien's got a goal from Adam Maloney to leave the score line of 1-7 to 8 points. but Tubber fought back in the last 2 minutes of injury time to get the last two scores to leave the half-time score level. Both teams came out in the second half, and again, with the aid of a slight breeze, Smith O'Brien's stretched the lead out to 2 points with two great long-range trees from goalkeeper Zach Dillon. In the next passage of play, there was to and fro points from both ends, with Ronan Monaghan putting two great scores over the bar, followed by a great score by Mike Goff to leave Smith O'Brien still up by 2. Again, both teams playing great hurling, and the referee Kieran Ladan letting the game flow. A fantastic score from Zach Dillon again from almost 85 yards out, pushed Smith O'Brien's 3 clear. Back came Tubber again. McMahon with a score, Monaghan with a score, Early with a score to leave it level. Smith O'Brien's came down the field again, and a great score from David O'Shea pushed him a point up. With almost 29 minutes on the clock, Mike Goff put the ball over the bar to put Smith O'Brien's 2 clear. Now just hitting to the clock, striking 30, a high ball went in around the square into the Smith O'Brien square, and a free was given. Up stepped Ronan Taff, former Clare under-21 All-Ireland keeper winner, and puts the ball straight into the roof of the net to make it Tubber 113 to Smith O'Brien's 112. Straight out from the puck out, a high ball broke in the middle of the field. Conor Geraghty got at it and hit a great score over the bar from 65 yards to make it 113 apiece. With the clock slowly ticking down now with 3 minutes of injury time to play, we were into the second minute of it. And Smith O'Brien's pressing hard, but great work by David O'Shea and Sam Flaherty forced the sideline ball about 35 yards out from goal. Up steps Dara Rosny, places the ball down, and only one thing in his mind to put the ball over the bar, and he duly obliged with one of the scores of the night to put Smith O'Brien's 114 to 113 ahead. With time almost up, Smith O'Brien's were defending heroically. Cahill Stretch cleared in ball after ball. Tubber came with one more last chance, a high ball in around the house, but the Smith O'Brien's defence cleared it to claim their first victory in the Division 2 of the Clare Cup Round 4 on a scoreline of 114 to 113. There was great performances from Smith O'Brien's from their 6 backs, and especially Zach Dillon in goals, who clipped in with 3 points. Cahill Stretch, Sean McMahon, Diarmuid Coleman, David Goff and Conor Geraghty and Ben Murnan are the 6 backs were outstanding tonight, ably assisted in midfield by Jason Monaghan and Owen Heffron. The forwards worked tirelessly hard throughout the night, with David O'Shea clipping 3, Mike Goff clipping 3 and Adam Maloney clipping a goal. Smith O'Brien's will be happy to get their first win on the board after the 4 rounds gone, and will be playing Cracklow next week in round 5. This is Brendan Foley reporting for Scariff Bay Community Radio from Tubber.
O'Callaghan's Mills visited Clarecastle for their Clare Cup clash this weekend. Pat O'Brien reports.
The evening was dry but cold. It was like a March evening, just with a cold breeze blowing down from the school in down the pitch. Clarecastle won the toss and played down with the wind in the first half. Gavin Roney for O'Callaghan's Mills opened the scoring with a point. Colin Cleary with a free, and then Niall Melody put over another point from wing back from play. Eric Price, Rory O'Connell and Patrick Kelly added points for Clarecastle, and it was 2-4 early on, but then stepped in Liam Murphy, a great passing movement, and Liam was at the end of it. Liam has been scoring goals for the last couple of years with the Clare Minors on a regular basis, so it's his first year in senior hurling. So Liam finished to the net to put the Mills into 4-point lead. Darren Maroney, Colin Cleary, Liam Murphy, Sean Hickey added points. Then another breaking ball in the Clarecastle square. Liam got onto it, he got blocked down and pulled first time when it dropped and put it in the net. So O'Callaghan's Mills were up 9 points after 22 minutes. Clarecastle came back into they reduced down to 3. They got a well taken goal, and then they had 3 points, and they came back into the game in the second quarter. And at half time, the Mills led 2-12 to 1-12, so there was just 3 points in it at half time. Now on the turnaround, the Mills had the wind and was playing down the hill. There's a bit of a hill there in Clarecastle. They came into the game with Sean Hickey, Brian Danlin, Aidan O'Gorman scored 2 just after the break. It was Mills really dominated the second half. Darren Maroney, Conor Henry, Niall Melody. Rory O'Connell was the main scorer for Clarecastle. He got points and Conor Whelan, Paul O'Connell. They were their main scorers. The Mills advanced anyway in the second half. Colin Cleary got into a ball that struck in by Liam Murphy and came down off the post, and Colin Cleary was in hand to put it in the net. The Mills were really dominating at this stage. Soon after, Conor Henry got into a ball that broke down in the Clarecastle defence, and he goaled as well. So it finished up with on a score of 4-24 to O'Callaghan's Mills and 1-23 to Clarecastle. All in all, it was a very competitive game. There was some very good hurling in it and some very good scores taken by both sides. The chief scorers of the mid, Darren Morney scored 4 points from play. Conor Henry scored 1-4. Colin Cleary 1-5, and Colin was taking frees as well. Liam Murphy got 2 goals. Niall Melody, 2 points from wing back. Sean Hickey, 3 points from the midfield. Aidan O'Gorman from 2 points from centre half back. Cormac Murphy, Killian Nugent, Brian Danlin, and Stephen Danlin were the other point scorers. As I said earlier on, the main scorers for Clarecastle was Rory O'Connell and Paul O'Connell. Paul Whelan, I think, was the main scorers for Clarecastle. So all in all, the Mills now advanced. They have 2 more games. There's 2 more rounds in the Clare Champion Cup. At this stage, the Mills are the only unbeaten team in the competition, as Fecal lost out to Kilmaley. Guaranteed a knockout position now anyway, and if they win another game, and maybe after 2, they have 2 games left. One against 6 Mile Bridge and one against home to 6 Mile Bridge and away to Ayr Oak. So all in all, it was satisfactory, and they're definitely in the knockout stages anyway, which wherever there will be a semi-final or a quarter-final. So this is Pat O'Brien from Scariff Bay Community Radio Sports Roundup from Clarecastle GA Grounds.
In a Division 4 hurling clash, Ogonnelloe took on Clarecastle. Kevin Wolfe reports on this game.
It was the 4th round of Division 4 today as Clarecastle hosted Ogonnelloe. Both sides came into the game having lost last time out, so they were hoping to get back to winning ways. It was nice and sunny in Clarecastle, but there was a strong breeze blowing straight down the pitch, and Clarecastle played with that breeze in the first half. Despite that strong breeze, it was a high-scoring first 20 minutes by both sides, with Clarecastle having a 3-point lead at the end of that period. Ogonnelloe's goal came from Cian Fitzgerald Bradley. 2 minutes later, Garrow Cheedy got in for another Ogonnelloe goal to bring the sides level. Clarecastle got the next 3 points, including one from their goalie with a free from his own 21-yard line, and that gave an indication of the strength of the breeze. They held that lead right up to the 31st minute, but in the last play of the first half, Cian Fitzgerald Bradley turned his man and headed for goal. His shot was well saved by the keeper, but the rebound fell to Barry Kiley and he tapped it home to leave it level at the break. The half-time score was 3-7 to 113. The ball was in the net again 30 seconds into the second half. This time it was Clarecastle celebrating, as an attempt for a point came off the post and fell to a Clarecastle player a few yards out from goal and he tapped it home. Ogonnelloe dominated the next few minutes and scored 2 points through Mikey Sheedy and Barry Kiley, but had 3 wides as well during that period, so should really have been in front. Indeed, Clarecastle got the next score and 10 minutes into the second half were still 2 points in front. Not deterred, however, Ogonnelloe kept going and got 5 of the next 6 points to take a 3-point lead by the 20th minute. Clarecastle got a point from a free to get the differential down to 2 points, but that was as good as it got for the Magpies, as Ogonnelloe dominated the rest of the game. It finished up 420 to 217. Cian Fitzgerald Bradley scored Ogonnelloe's 4th goal after a good move featuring Garrod and Mikey Sheedy. Mikey Sheedy was top scorer for Ogonnelloe with 13 points, including 9 frees. Cian Fitzgerald Bradley got 2-1 and Barry Kiley scored 1-2. Overall, Ogonnelloe will be happy with a good win as they look forward to round 5 when they'll face St Joseph's Stuart Bearfield. This is Kevin Wolfe for Scariff Bay Community Radio.
Fecal took on Kilmaley in the Clare Cup this weekend, and our man there was Raymond Nelson.
Fecal hosted Kilmaley in round 5 of the Clare Cup on Saturday evening in Fecal. Conditions were very good for this game, except there was a sharp semi-easterly breeze blowing up towards the new clubhouse, which favoured Fatal in the first half. Ours were even enough in the first 9 or 10 minutes. You had the usual few scores from Shane playing freeze, and for Kilmaley and Mikey O'Neill and Tom O'Rourke scoring. In the 14th minute, Kilmaley put a passing movement together, which they were troubling the Fatal backline with these movements, and eventually they got through, and James Murphy was on the end of it to get a goal. A few minutes after that, Fatal got a penalty up at the far end, and O'Loughlin brought off a good save from Shane out for the 65, which Shane scored. The same trend continued. Fatal were troubling the Fatal backs a good bit with their movement. In the 24th minute, they put a similar movement together, and Dylan Keane Hayes was in the end of it to get a goal. And they added Pines, Tom O'Rourke and Colm Killeen, etc. Shane replied with a few for Fatal. So the half-time score was Kilmaley 2-11 and Fatal 9 points. Now play resumed. Fatal brought on a few of their more regular players. They had started minus maybe 7 or 8 of their regulars. But so the defence tightened up a bit, but Kilmaley were able to use the breeze which they had now to get a few long ranges. For instance, Derek Keane, who was playing wing back, scored a long range free, and Tommy Barry, who was playing centre back, got a long range point from play. So they kept Fatal at bay, and scores were at a premium in this half, the usual. Shane got a few for Fatal, Ronan O'Connor, and in Owen Toohey, who had come on, he got a long range one. They added 5 points to their 9-point tally, which brought them to 14. Kilmaley kept their noses in front, and when the final whistle went, Kilmaley were 220 and Fatal were 14 points. Wasn't much to say. Kilmaley's movement and general play was troubling Fatal a bit. Fatal could point to the fact that they were missing a lot of players, which they were. But next week, I think, is probably Ballye. I think maybe Friday evening is the next game in the Clare Cup. So that's it from Fatal. Kilmaley 220, Fatal 14 points. Thank you.
But Ike also took on Kilmaley today, and Sean O'Halloran reports on that game for Scariff Bay Community Radio.
But Ike collected both points in their Division 3 league game when they entertained Kilmaley in a sunny but chilly Bodyke today. In truth, the home team were always in control of this game, and a Shawnee Dial goal in the second minute set the tone for this display. Further points from Fionn Slattery, Paddy Fitzgerald, Sean Brown and Ian Murray ensured a comfortable half-time lead of 1-9 to 3 points. Kilmaley played much better with the wind in the second half, and points by Colm Killeen, Padraig Healy, Garrod O'Grady and Peter Ronan kept Kilmaley in touch in the early stages. However, Bodyke assumed control thereafter, and a brace of goals from Ian Murray and Paddy Fitz sealed the points. Best for the home team were Seamus Preedley, deputising for County Under-20 panellists Cormac Doyle, Cormac Tracy, Cian Minogue, Éanna Doyle, Fionn Slattery, Ian Murray, Shawnee Doyle, Paddy Fitzgerald and Sean Brown. Kilmaley had good displays from Conor Cahill, Noel Casey, Sean and Peter Ronan, Colm Killeen, Garrod O'Grady and Dylan Keane Hayes. Final score, Bodyke 321, Kilmaley 17 points. Sean O'Halloran for Scariff Bay Community Radio, I Borkna di Shelva, Luban Diga.
In Division 2 of the Hurling League, Whitegate took on Partine Meelick, and Jack Tracy was there for us.
Reporting on an intermediate league game, round 4 between Partine Meelick and Whitegate. Game played at Partine pitch. Ideal conditions on a beautiful pitch with a tricky cross-field wind. An even first half saw sides level at half-time on the score of 1-9 to 9 points. Second half started with the host club getting 2 goals in quick succession, which put them in the driving seat, and they held this position to the end with a score of 3 goals and 14 points to 2 goals and 14. The game was of interest particularly because both of these clubs will meet again in the Premier Intermediate Championship later in the summer. On this occasion, Partine Meelick were on top, so the game during the summer will be very much to look forward to. And this is Jack Tracy reporting from Partine Pitch. Thank you.
Finally, Leo Doyle chatted this week with Camogie Player of the Month, Lorna McNamara of Feakle, Kilnina and Clare.
Díomh Acád Gael as fáilte a rís at Goody Scariff Bay Community Radio. Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome once again here back to Sportsline here on Scariff Bay Community Radio for a bonus show here in association with Derg Credit Union. And on this segment, we're going to be joined by Clare senior camogie player Lorna McNamara, who has just been crowned Player of the Month for the PWC Awards for National Camogie. And now we're delighted to be joined on the line by Clare senior camogie player from the Feakle Kilnina Club, a lady who is just after receiving Player of the Month, the PWC Player of the Month for camogie, a well-deserved award, you know, I suppose, following on Clare's exploits in winning Division 1B and going very well in the Munster Championship, unfortunately losing out by the minimum to Waterford in the preliminary quarter final. Is Lorna McNamara. Lorna, you're very welcome to Scariff Bay Community Radio.
Hello, hi, thanks for having me.
Lorna, as we said, many congratulations on a well-deserved Player of the Month award. Did you expect it, first of all?
No, definitely not. It was actually funny. I was nominated against one of my good friends from college. We lived together, Mairead O'Brien, and I know the calibre of player she is, and you know, Kerry Dolan speaks for herself. So yeah, no, definitely wasn't expecting to get it.
I thought myself you were a dark horse, but look, as we said, many congratulations. Lorna, first of all, it's great to see you back on the camogie fields, first of all, after, you know, a tough struggle with injuries, and I would presume now that you've come out the other side, which is great, it did test the mind to the limit.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of tough experiences there over the last couple of years. It sort of is still an ongoing thing, but it's a lot more manageable, and as long as I'm kind of smart with how much I train and what I do in training, it's well manageable. So yeah, just really happy to be back.
How do you manage the workload now, Lorna? Do you know yourself how far you can go, or are you working off a programme itself?
Yeah, it's kind of just a matter of still kind of learning about it. So trainings now is kind of mainly sticking to hurling and not really doing the hard running conditioning sessions and that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of just sticking to off-feet conditioning sessions, like on the bike and that kind of thing. And yeah, like, I mean, you know, the management are very good. You know, they understand that I can't do everything. But yeah, no, as long as I'm able to, you know, be there for the hurling parts and be available for matches, that's kind of the main thing.
I think, Lorna, the way your performances are going, I think you'll have an awful lot more people inside cycling that bike and taking those training systems with you.
Yeah, I don't know about that, yeah.
Come here, obviously, look at Clare Camogie, Lorna, in a very, very good place, you know, at the moment, and you know, hopes are high coming in towards the championship, and obviously the under-23s are playing the semi-final on Sunday, and we wish them as well on that. At the beginning of the year, obviously, with Eugene Foodie coming in, or taking over as manager, he set out his stall. Obviously, promotion and winning, getting to Division 1 was the first priority.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming off the back of last year as well, losing out in the league final, this was, you know, a real main goal for us. And yeah, like, I mean, everyone wants to be playing in the top division, and I think, you know, with the performance we put in against Waterford as well, we're kind of happy with where we are. We obviously still want to push on, but you know, we're closing the gap a little bit, and you know, taking a lot of confidence from that win and going to bring it into championship as well.
And also, Lorna, obviously defeating Dublin in the league final down in UPMC, Nolan Park. And Dublin have been thereabouts in the senior championship as well in the last number of years and had taken a scalp or two, So it just shows the progression that Clare have made. And as you said, the gap with Stores, I think is down to the minimum now at this stage. And if further on with your performance against Waterford, which was a brilliant game of camogie, which it could have gone either way. And it would have been great to get another game out of it like Waterford got, where you would probably have beaten Kerry, and be looking forward to a Munster final against Tipperary. But look, so be it. But things are going in the right direction, and that's fierce important.
Yeah, they are, and look, we've put in a lot of work in pre-season in the gym and running and things like that. So that's standing to us now, and there's a little break between league and championship as well. So we're working hard during that time too. And yeah, like you said, being able to put it up to Waterford and bring them to extra time, and happy with our performance, but still disappointed. We probably had chances to win it as well. So yeah, and we know that. But yeah, look, happy, I suppose, that we know we're able to compete at that level now.
Yeah, and team spirit, everything, the mood in the camp, everything. You'd know by watching, getting the body language and the vibe, that everything is just so, it's a happy camp, Lorna.
Yeah, it is. I think, both management and players have real belief in ourselves. And, that comes from winning as well. We're getting confidence from that. But, everyone, is really nice in the camp, and there's been no little arguments or anything like that. It is just going really well. And yeah, players are happy, management are happy, and we're just hoping to drive on for championship.
Yeah, and speaking of yourself, Lorna, obviously you played with UL and won, and congrats on winning an Ashburton Cup medal as well. Coming back from injury, Lorna, was it hard to manage the games, as they were coming thick and fast there earlier on in the year? How did you manage that?
Yeah, I think, when I first came back for a club, I suppose, back in August, so I've kind of been managing away since that. Just when we've matches week on week, I'm not really training on a Tuesday, we'll say, and then I'm doing a bit on a Friday then before the weekend game. So, it's just kind of managing that, and, I have to put in a lot of work on the side, kind of, just in the morning before training, I'm almost warming up straight away from then on, and then, the half hour before training starts, you're doing your activation, that kind of stuff. So a lot goes into it, really. Yeah.
And can we say for yourself, obviously, as you said, you have a lot of the warm up to do. Obviously, you're definitely not doing the same warm up as the rest of the players, really, in terms of getting ready.
It's similar enough, I suppose. Mine is a bit more hip focused, just because that's where the injury was. But it's really just trying to get them warmed up and just making sure they're kind of ready for what's coming, really.
And does it involve a lot of stretching in that, Lorna, obviously, to keep everything loose,
Yeah, it would do. A lot of mobility work I do. I definitely try to get it in 3 to 4 times a week, just myself. And then, in the gym we're kind of doing that kind of thing anyway. So, it's just whatever I can do to keep things moving freely is the main thing, and I'll do anything that works, really. I don't mind what it is.
Yeah, indeed. Going back, obviously taking you back in time, going back to the injury, really, did people was it just not picked up on where the actual injury was, or did you know yourself where the injury was, Lorna, or could it not be just pinpointed?
Yeah, it was very hard to diagnose, really. I think there was a stage, it was 15 months before I got a diagnosis, and that led me on to surgery then for this thing called FAI. It's basically where the hip socket and the femur are kind of growing into each other, so they had to shave down the bone and repair a little tear inside in the labrum, and some cartilage damage too. So that was kind of one thing, but the thing I'm dealing with now is more so kind of a tendon issue, we think. No one's really certain. There's these things called tendinopathies, and it's been going on for 2.5 years, so right. They're saying, if it is a tendinopathy, it shouldn't be going on this long, basically, is what they're saying. So it's hard to pinpoint. It's just kind of a frustrating one, just not knowing what it is, but I'm just trying to keep positive with it. Like, as long as I'm able to train away and play matches, I don't mind.
And come here, after the match then, obviously, because, obviously you're coming in for a lot of attention during these games and probably going to get more and more attention because you are one of the top players in the country and have been for a while. How are you after games in Lorna? What's the procedure after a game? Obviously when you're training so hard and stretching so hard to get ready, what's your detail coming back down after a game?
Yeah, it's basically any recovery option out there. So, ice baths, hot and cold bath really, compression boots. I'll take a dip in the sea and sauna or whatever that is. There's this treatment I go for. It's called microcurrent therapy. It's kind of a new thing that's up and coming, and I find that helps loads. And then, any physio session where I just need a bit of work on the quads or whatever it is, I'll do that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, with hip operation, obviously that's going to lead on to pressure on other muscles as well. So you've that to deal with as well.
Yeah. Because it was going on for so long, it probably impacted, other little muscles and tissues and things like that. So, it's just, as well as focusing on the hips, I'm trying to keep everything else moving well as well.
And Lorna, another question, how did you keep the mind so positive all that time? Because anyone that would have had long-term injuries and finding it hard to get resolution, it can be very debilitating, and because you just don't see that in goal. How did you keep your mind so positive to keep going all the time? Was it just to get back playing, and that was your goal?
Yeah, I think I just always knew that I was going to get back at some stage. I never really knew when it was, but I was determined that I was going to get back, whether it was, if the injury was still there, I was going to find a way to just play through it. I didn't care if the pain was still going to stop me. I was going to come back anyways, no matter, if I still wasn't back at the moment with pain, I think I'd still play through it, because just the thought of not playing would be harder than playing through pain. So, I think I had kind of made that decision in my head. If I got to a certain point where it was still at me, I was just going to go back anyways. But I'm glad I've got it to a stage where I can play without pain.
Yeah, that's a big come to, because I know from hearing of the stories, like, that what you had to go through to even play the club games. You were going through a lot, and and I know you went to see everyone go on the road. And in fairness, fair play to your mother and father, who've been absolutely your best supporters, but also done more than what they could to get you back in the field of play. And I know you were very appreciative of that as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've stressed my out enough the last couple of years. But they've been great. So much support. So just really supportive. And Mum was the one constantly looking up places to go and just really doing anything she could to find answers. Really grateful for that.
And I suppose what you're saying, Lorna, really is that you should never throw in the towel. That you just have to persevere, keep going, and eventually a solution will be found.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just all about, trying to get in touch with the right people. And everyone I went to, they tried to help, but just some don't have the answers. So you just have to kind of leave that and look for someone else. That's kind of what got me back, really.
And I suppose, Lorna, yourself, obviously you've missed a lot of camogie, especially the county camogie, and you've been a tremendous loss, to the Clare team in the past, shown by your performances that you have done since you come in. It really must be a great release, and a great release on the mind as well, to be back out there on the field of play.
Yeah, it is. I feel such a sense of freedom now when I go out. Just coming back with a real new appreciation for it. I really enjoyed playing before the injury, obviously, but I think it just puts things into perspective a little bit more. Not every game is guaranteed now, and I know I'm only 24, but your career goes by kind of quickly as well. So, I'm just enjoying every moment of it now.
Yeah, and it's funny, as you say, you're probably maybe looking at it a bit, that. Is it fair to say that you're in? Now, look at, you've always enjoyed it, and everyone has enjoyed you playing. Is it fair to say you're enjoying it even more at this stage on your so-called second coming?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Yeah. and like oftentimes, no matter what you're doing, if you're enjoying it, you're probably playing that bit better as well. So yeah, I think that's helping with my performances as well.
Yeah, and they've been brilliant. Looking forward, quick, Lorna, to the All-Ireland Championship, and obviously Dublin up first, ironically after beating them in the league, and your first match in the Championship is again Dublin again. All those teams that you've played, all those games are going to be tight. It's going to be nip and tuck all the way, Lorna.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough group to get out of. Only the top 2 come out into quarterfinals. So every game is important. And yeah, look, playing Dublin again in the first round, it's going to be a major battle. They'll be out to get us now after the league final. So yeah, we'll just have to be ready for that.
And I presume the mantra, as all the managers and all the top class players say, we're taking it one game at a time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't even know who's after them, to be honest.
That's a great answer, Lorna McNamara. There's no doubt you're well tuned in. And obviously, then I know you're not even thinking about the club at this stage, but it would be great to see you back. Maybe not from the other team's point of view, but great to see you back at full fitness for Fecal Killanena later on the year as well.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to be back. It's great just to actually, be able to play and go out confidently, knowing that you're going to be, injury free, which is, really helps going out. Yeah.
Lorna, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It's very, very seldom that players out this way get a Player of the Month and a well-merited Player of the Month, and congratulations to you once again on that award. And we've enjoyed your performances so far with Clare this year, and we look forward to many, many more for the county and for the club. And as I said, it's been a pleasure, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us here, Lorna McNamara, on Scariff Bay Community Radio.
No problem. Thanks very much.
And all that remains is media dial for Sportsline in association with their credit union. Until we meet again, it's Bannock Day, August Lawn.
You have been listening to Sports Roundup Sunday on Scariff Bay Community Radio. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again on Friday evening next for Sports Roundup Friday.